Welcome back. I'm Pratap here. Today is the 21st December 2024. In this video, I'm going to generate different supply demand zone reports. Also, I will be focusing on weekly reports because this is the weekend. Even before that, all of you please understand we are providing complete free training on supply demand zone price action. And the cost of the training is over $8,000 and we are providing complete free training. All the training lessons you can access at our NeoStock YouTube channel. At our channel homepage, please click on the tab Posts. Some of you might be seeing the tab Community. Click on the tab. You get access to our free training course. This post is having a YouTube playlist link that will take you to all the training lessons. You just click on the link. Now we are into the playlist Supply Demand Zone Price Action course. Here you have all the training lessons are available. You just need to scroll down to the bottom of the page. Here starting from lesson 1.1, all the training lessons are placed in an order. So please go through all these lessons one by one and strengthen your skills related to supply demand zone price action. I have also provided the link to our Telegram channel in this video description. Please join at our Telegram channel. It will be helpful to you. Now let's get into the report generation. Let's start with finding the stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. And during the weekly time frame, I will also generate different weekend reports also. First, let's start with the half-yearly time frame. Stocks near half-yearly demand zone. No stocks are available. Half-yearly time frame. Stocks near half-yearly supply zone also we don't have any stocks. I'm changing to quarterly time frame. Stocks near quarterly demand zone. 4 stocks are filtered. I'm giving you only few seconds time to watch the report. I'm requesting you pause the video, study the report. After that, you can further proceed in the video. In case if you don't know how to study the report, I request you complete our training lesson 21.1. In that video, I have explained each and every column, their values, abbreviations in detail. Okay, next, quarterly time frame. Stocks near quarterly supply zone. 3 stocks are filtered. Next time frame is a monthly. Stocks near monthly demand zone. 11 stocks are filtered. Next monthly time frame. Stocks near monthly supply zone. 2 stocks are filtered. Next monthly time frame. Stocks price closed inside the monthly demand zone, but these monthly demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at monthly time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means zone is not pierced. So this is the list. We got good number of stocks closed in the monthly demand zone. First 20 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 32 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the monthly demand zone. We can further list by adding high probability parameter monthly EMA Confluence. How many of these monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA Confluence? Let's verify. In the 32 stocks, I am adding this EMA Confluence filter at monthly time frame. I am setting the filter monthly demand zone having monthly EMA Confluence. With this filter should not be used in sideways trend because EMA Confluence makes sense only in the trending market but not in sideways. That's why in the trend at monthly time frame, I am selecting only up or down. I am just ignoring sideways trend zones. From 32 now the list is reduced to 16 stocks. These 16 monthly demand zones are having monthly EMA confluence. Okay, next for monthly time frame, price closed inside the monthly supply zone. These monthly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count, at monthly time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Let's filter. We got 5 stocks. Currently price closed in these 5 monthly supply zones. Let us verify out of these 5 monthly supply zones, how many are having monthly EMA confluence. Actually, sideways we have to ignore. We have only 2 stocks, first and fourth. Let's verify those stocks are having any monthly EMA confluence for monthly supply zones. So in the EMA confluence at monthly time frame, I am adding the filter monthly supply zone having monthly EMA confluence, and the trend at monthly time frame should not be sideways, it can be up or down. Let's filter. So we don't have any monthly supply zones having monthly EMA confluence. Okay, next time frame is weekly. Stocks near weekly demand zone. So first 16 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 20 stocks are filtered where price is near to the weekly demand zone. Next, weekly time frame, price near weekly supply zone, 5 stocks are filtered. Next, weekly time frame, price closed inside the weekly demand zone, and these weekly demand zones should not be pierced. So I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0 in the pierced count. Let me filter. We got a big list. These are the first 16 stocks. I am scrolling the list down. So total 54 stocks are filtered where price closed inside the weekly demand zone. Out of these 54 stocks, we can further filter based on weekly EMA confluence for the weekly demand zones. So let's add that filter, EMA confluence. At a weekly time frame, I am setting the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. And EMA confluence makes sense only in the trending market but not sideways. So that's why in the trend weekly time frame, I am not selecting sideways, I am selecting only up or down. Now based on these filters, now we got 17 stocks. From 52, the list is come down to 17. See, always whichever the time frame you have selected, that time frame trend should be treated as LTF trend. You should not forget that point. Okay, I am scrolling the list down. So total 17 stocks are filtered. Currently price closed in these weekly demand zones, and also these demand zones are having weekly EMA confluence. Okay, next weekly time frame. Price closed inside the weekly supply zone, and these weekly supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a weekly time frame, I'm selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means zone is not pierced. Let's filter. So we got 9 stocks. Currently price closed in these weekly supply zones. Now let's verify how many of these weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. So in the EMA Confluence at weekly time frame, I am adding the filter weekly supply zone having weekly EMA Confluence. And also the trend should not be sideways on weekly. So I am selecting up or down trend but not sideways. Let's filter. We got 4 stocks. So currently price closed in these 4 weekly supply zones, and these 4 weekly supply zones are having weekly EMA Confluence. Okay. Next, weekly time frame. Let us find the tested weekly demand zones during this week. So very good number of weekly demand zones are tested. I am scrolling the list down. So total 58 weekly demand zones are tested. That means these stocks having weekly demand zones are tested during this week. Okay, next for weekly time frame, let us find the stocks having the tested weekly supply zones. 8 stocks are filtered. These 8 stocks having the supply zones are tested during this week. Okay, next let us find the newly created weekly zones for weekly time frame. Let us find the weekly demand zones, stocks having weekly demand zones newly created during this week. So these 2 stocks having the demand zones are created during this week. Okay, next weekly time frame. Let us find the stocks having newly created weekly supply zones. Oh, there's so many supply zones are created during this week, including Nifty 50, Nifty Bank, Nifty Financial Services, Nifty Mid Cap Selected, Nifty Auto, Nifty Consumer Durables, Nifty Metal, Nifty Oil and Gas, Nifty Private Bank, Nifty PSU Bank, Nifty Next 50. We are maintaining 17 indices. Out of 17, 11 indices are having newly created weekly supply zones. And also you can observe the stocks. You can pause the video, and I am scrolling the list down. So 81 stocks are having newly created weekly supply zones during this week. Very interesting. Now next, let us identify the weekly zones having weekly, monthly and quarterly zone confluence supported stocks. So weekly time frame. First let us identify demand zone confluence, LTF, ITF, HTF. That is weekly we are considering as LTF, and monthly is ITF, and quarterly is HTF. If that is the case, all the 3 zone confluence supported stocks, let us filter. So weekly demand zone having confluence with monthly demand zone. weekly demand zone confluence with quarterly demand zone, and monthly demand zone confluence with quarterly demand zone. With all the three filters, we got a good list. I'm scrolling the list down. First 15 stocks in the list. So total 33 stocks are filtered. We can further filter out of these 33 how many are having a HTF EMA confluence, quarterly EMA confluence. In the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame, quarterly demand zone having quarterly EMA confluence, and the trend, quarterly trend should not be sideways. So selecting up or down trend. Still we got a big list. First 15 stocks. Scrolling the list down. So total 19 stocks are filtered. So that means weekly zone is part of the monthly zone, both together part of the quarterly zone, and quarterly zone is having quarterly EMA confluence. And the quarterly trend is not sideways. Check HTF is quarterly. Okay. So this is about demand zone confluence. Next, supply zone confluence on weekly time frame. So in the supply zone confluence, weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence, weekly supply zone with quarterly supply zone confluence, monthly supply zone with quarterly supply zone confluence. With all the three filters, we got 10 stocks. Out of these 10, how many of these quarterly zones are having quarterly EMA confluence? Let us filter in the EMA confluence at quarterly time frame. Why quarterly? Because weekly zone is part of monthly, both together part of quarterly. That's why we are looking into quarterly supply zone with quarterly EMA confluence, and the trend on quarterly time frame, the trend zone violation on quarterly time frame should not be sideways. That means it can be up or down. See, still we got 4 stocks. These are the high probability setup related. That way we can understand. If any supply zone is pierced, ignore that stock. We have to always look into the pierced count. See, the third one we can ignore. It is a pierced zone. Okay, this is about weekly time frame. Next time frame is daily. Entry time frame daily. Let us find the stocks near the daily demand zone. So many stocks. We have 26 stocks are filtered. These are the first 15 stocks. I'm scrolling the list down. So total 26 stocks are filtered. So from this list we need to identify high liquidity zones. Let us identify any high liquidity demand zones. Astral is having a high liquidity zone. Bajaj Auto is having high liquidity zone. Bharat Forge is having a high liquidity zone. Dalmia Bharat, Godrej Properties, Hindustan Aeronautical Limited, HAL, HDFC Bank, Idea, PFC, Power Finance Corporation, so we have 9 high liquidity zones from this list. So we got a big list during this weekend. So 9 high liquidity zones were identified from daily time frame. High liquidity demand zones. Okay, next for daily time frame, let us find the stocks near daily supply zone. 6 stocks are filtered. Let us check any high liquidity supply zones. So we have one high liquidity supply zone, SBI card, Zydus Life. Zydus Life from daily time frame. Okay. Next, daily time frame. Let us find the stocks where price closed inside the daily demand zone. These daily demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a daily time frame, I am selecting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Let's filter. We got a big list. First 16 stocks in the list. I am scrolling the list down. So total 50 stocks are filtered where price closed inside daily demand zones. Out of these 50, how many of these demand zones are having daily EMA Confluence? Let's verify. In the EMA Confluence, at a daily time frame, daily demand zones having daily EMA Confluence filter is enabled, and EMA Confluence does not make any sense in sideways trend. That's why we have to filter those stocks in the trend daily time frame. I am not selecting sideways, I am selecting only up or down. Let's filter. See, from 15 now the list is come down to 14 stocks. So these 14 daily demand zones are having daily EMA Confluence, and the present price is closed inside these daily demand zones. Okay. Next, daily time frame. Let us find the stocks where price closed inside the daily supply zone, and these daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at a daily time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means daily supply zones are not pierced. So with that filter, we got 3 stocks. Currently price closed in these daily supply zones. Let's verify any of these daily supply zones are having EMA Confluence. Only the second one is valid because daily trend is down, remaining sideways. Let's verify. In the EMA Confluence, daily time frame, daily supply zone having daily EMA Confluence, and in the trend and daily time frame should not be sideways, so I am selecting up or down. Let's filter. Very good. That's one stock is filtered, and this stock is having daily EMA Confluence and the further daily supply zone. Okay, this is about daily time frame, and the next time frame is 125 minutes. Stocks near 125 minutes demand zone. We got 15 stocks. Next, 125 minutes time frame. Stocks near 125 minutes supply zone. We got 5 stocks. Okay, next time frame is 75 minutes. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Let us find the stocks near 75 minutes demand zone. We got 10 stocks. Let's identify any high liquidity zones from this list. NIFTY PSU, it is not listed in F&O. Astral is pierced, not a valid zone. Britannia is also pierced, not a valid zone. And Colpal is having a high liquidity 75 minutes demand zone. And Shenzhen is also having a high liquidity 75 minutes demand zone. So we have two valid 75 minutes high liquidity demand zones from this list. Okay, next for 75 minutes time frame, let us filter the stocks near the 75 minute supply zone. We got 6 stocks. Let's identify high liquidity supply zones. So we don't have any 75 minutes high liquidity supply zones from this list. So this is about the high liquidity zones. Next time frame is 25 minutes. Stocks near 25 minutes demand zone. We got 3 stocks. Next 25 minutes time frame. Stocks near 25 minutes supply zone. We got 13 stocks. Next time frame is 15 minutes. Stocks near 15 minutes demand zone. We got 5 stocks. And that fourth one is pierced. Now let's verify out of these 5 how many are having ITF demand zone confluence. That is 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. With this filter, out of the 5 stocks, we got 4. But fourth one is invalid because it is a pierced zone. Okay, next 15 minutes time frame. Stocks near 15 minutes supply zone. We got 13 stocks. Please check pierced supply zones from this column. Okay, out of these 13, how many are having ITF supply zone confluence? Let's filter. That is 15 minutes supply zone with 75 minutes supply zone confluence. I enable the filter. With this filter, out of 15 stocks, we got only 2 stocks. So these two 15 minute supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zones. Okay, next time frame is 5 minutes. Stocks near 5 minutes demand zone. We got 11 stocks. Out of these 11, how many are having ITF demand zone confluence? That is 5 minutes demand zone with 15 minutes demand zone confluence. So I am enabling that filter. So with this filter, we got 4 stocks. Out of these 4, third one is invalid because it is having a pierced zone. Okay, next 5 minutes time frame. Stocks near 5 minutes supply zone. We got 11 stocks. Out of these 11, how many are having ITF confluence? Let's filter. The ITF confluence, that is a 5 minute supply zone with 15 minute supply zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. We got 4 stocks. These 5 minute supply zones are part of the 15 minute supply zones in all these 4 stocks. So this is about stocks near demand and supply zones for different time frames. Next set of reports are about NIFTY and BANKNIFTY supply demand zone chain. Let's start with NIFTY. Generating monthly supply demand zone chain for NIFTY. This is monthly supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Always look into the zone column to find the high liquidity zones. Look into the pierced column to find the pierced zones. We can ignore them. Always look into the LTF trend to find the trend of the current time frame you have selected. Apply all these rules for the remaining supply demand zone reports, and also don't forget to pause the video before you move on to the next report, because I am giving you only few seconds time. Okay, next, weekly supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Next, 125-minute supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Okay, next, 75-minute supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Okay, next, 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Okay, next, 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. Because you have only few demand zones, I am scrolling the list down. You can find more 15 minutes demand zones. Okay, next, 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Nifty. All these are all supply zones. I am scrolling the list down. Now you can see the demand zones as well. This list is good enough for you now in this report. Okay, this is about Nifty supply demand zone chain. Next, let us look into the Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. So that is nothing but Nifty Bank. Let me start with the monthly time frame, generating monthly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, weekly supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, daily supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 125 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 75 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 25 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. Next, 15 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. And finally, 5 minutes supply demand zone chain for Bank Nifty. So this is about Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. If you want more demand zones, 5 minutes demand zones, I can scroll down the list. So this is about Bank Nifty supply demand zone chain. Okay, next let us generate bullish and bearish trade setups for monthly, weekly and daily income trades. First let me start with monthly income trade bullish trade setup, entry time frame daily, entry zone demand zone, bullish or bearish trade setup at daily time frame. I am selecting bullish, and peers to count at daily time frame. I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0, so that zone is not pierced. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score should be greater than or equals to 12 for bullish or bearish trade setups. So 3 filters: pierced count, zone achievement and minimum odd enhancer score. These 3 filters are applied to daily demand zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 19 stocks. These 19 stocks are currently supporting bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. And the entry time frame zones are daily demand zones. So all these green color zones are daily demand zones. Out of these 19 daily demand zones, there could be some high probability trade setup zones based on Zone Confluence and EMA Confluence as per the concepts learned in lesson 27 strategy. So let's filter them. First filter is LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. Excuse me. So in the demand zone confluence, LTF is daily, ITF is weekly. So I am setting the filter daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With this filter, out of 19 stocks, we got 14 stocks. That means these 14 daily demand zones are part of the weekly demand zone. And the weekly trend is up in all the stocks. Weekly means ITF. So because the daily zone is part of the weekly zone and weekly trend is up, now you can look for even more high probability setup based on weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence, because daily zone is part of the weekly zone. Let's add that filter. In the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, because daily zone is part of the weekly zone and weekly trend is up. Now we are setting the filter weekly demand zone having weekly EMA confluence. With this filter, out of the 14 stocks, we got 9 stocks. These 9 stocks could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. So I am removing this EMA filter because this is LTF, ITF strategy. Now we are looking for LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence. So we need to set 3 filters in the demand zone confluence. First filter is already we enabled daily with weekly demand zone confluence. Next, daily demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. And weekly demand zone with monthly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence, we got only 1 stock. This daily demand zone is a high liquidity demand zone. Now let's verify whether this stock is having a HTF EMA confluence, because the daily zone is part of weekly, both together part of monthly, and monthly is HTF. So let us HTF trend is up, so let us look for HTF EMA confluence. HTF is monthly. So monthly demand zone having monthly EMA confluence. With this filter, we did not get any stocks. Okay, this is about bullish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry time frame is daily. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at a daily time frame, I am selecting bearish. These daily supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at daily time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd and hands score 12. And all the three filters, pierced count, zone achievement and OE score, all the three filters are applied to daily supply zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got only one stock. Currently only one stock is supporting bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Entry zone is daily supply zone. Let us check whether this daily supply zone is a high probability setup or not. First filter, let us look for LTF, ITF, supply zone confluence. That is a daily and weekly supply zone confluence. I am enabling the filter. So this is having a ITF confluence. That means this daily supply zone is part of the weekly supply zone and weekly trend is down. Let's verify whether this is having weekly EMA confluence so that it could be even more high probability trade setup. So weekly supply zone with weekly EMA confluence. Oh, this stock is filtered. So it is even more high probability trade setup, supported stock. Now let us further check whether it is having LTF, ITF, HTF confluence or not. Removing this EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, three filters we have to add. First filter is already enabled, daily with weekly. Next, daily supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. Next, weekly supply zone with monthly supply zone confluence. With all the three filters, LTF, ITF, HTF supply zone, we didn't get that stock. But anyway, that is already high probability trade setup based on LTF, ITF supply zone confluence and EMA confluence. That is ITF EMA confluence, weekly EMA confluence. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for monthly income trade. Next, let us look for weekly income trade, bullish trade setup. Entry time frame is 75 minutes. Entry zone is a demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish. These 75 minutes demand zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd and hands score 12. All three filters are applied to 75 minutes demand zone. So with these filters, we got 7 stocks. So these 7 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. And the entry zone is 75 minutes demand zones. All these 75 minutes demand zones are supporting bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Okay, out of these 75 minutes demand zones, there could be some high probability demand zones might be available. We need to filter them. First filter is based on LTF and ITF demand zone confluence. Let's verify. 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. I am enabling that filter. With this filter, we got 6 stocks out of 7. In all these 6 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. If the daily demand zone is having daily EMA confluence, those stocks could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence, daily time frame, because 75 minutes supply zone is part of the daily supply zone, that's why We are looking for daily supply zone with daily EMA confluence. With this filter, we got only one stock, Nifty 50. High liquidity supply zone. So this stock is having EMA confluence, the supply zone. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. So did I made any mistake while explaining? This demand zone is having EMA confluence, not the supply zone. That is what demand zone confluence and EMA confluence. Sorry, I made a mistake here. This report is not valid. Please cancel it. I have to select daily demand zone with daily EMA confluence, not supply zone, because it is a bullish trade setup. Bullish trade setup, our focus should be on the demand zones. We already selected demand zone confluence. So I am correcting the mistake. In the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, I have to select daily demand zone with daily EMA. This is the right one. Out of 6, we got 2 stocks now. So these 2 demand zones are having EMA confluence, daily EMA confluence. These 2 are 75 minutes demand zones. These 2 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone. That daily demand zone is having daily EMA confluence. That's why, because these 2 are part of the daily zone, these 2 are even more high probability trade setup supported zones. This is how we should understand. Okay, this is about with the EMA confluence. Next, let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence. I am removing this EMA filter. LTF, ITF, HTF, that is 75 minutes daily and weekly demand zone confluence. So first filter is already enabled, 75 with daily demand zone confluence. Next, 75 demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. Next, daily demand zone with weekly demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF, HTF demand zone confluence, we got 3 stocks. In these 3 stocks, these 75 minutes demand zones are part of the daily demand zone, both together again part of the weekly demand zone. And weekly trend is up for second and third stock. If these 2 stocks, if any of these 2 stocks are having weekly EMA confluence, that could be even more high probability trade setup supported stock. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at weekly time frame, because 75 together with daily is part of the weekly, and that's why weekly demand zone with weekly EMA confluence. With this filter, we got all the 3, but you need to ignore the first one because it is a sideways, not valid EMA. But these 2 are even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Okay, this is about bullish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Entry time frame 75 minutes. Entry zone, supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting bearish. This 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 75 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. That means 75 minute supply zone should not be pierced, and zone achievement should be violated opposing zone. Minimum odd and enhanced score 12. All 3 filters are set to the 75 minute supply zone. They are applied to 75 minute supply zone. So with these filters, we got 11 stocks. So these 11 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. And all these supply zones are 75 minute supply zone. Out of these 11 75-minute supply zones, there could be some high probability setup supported supply zones might be available. We need to filter them. The first filter is based on LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. Let's verify. Let's further filter these 11 stocks with the LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. That is 75 minutes with daily supply zone confluence. So I am enabling the filter. With this filter, out of 11 stocks, we got 7 stocks. In these 7 stocks, all these 75-minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone. And the daily means ITF. So daily trend is down and 75-minute zone is part of the daily zone. If those daily supply zones are having daily EMA confluence, then these 75-minute supply zones are even more high probability trade setup supported zones. Let us verify. In the EMA confluence, at a daily time frame, because 75-minute supply zone is part of the daily supply zone, that's why we are looking for daily supply zone with daily EMA confluence. With this filter, out of 7 stocks, we got 4 stocks. So these 4 75-minute supply zones are even more high probability trade setup supported zones. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade, and also based on the strategy LTF and ITF zone confluence and ITF EMA confluence for ITF zone supply zone. Okay, next let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence for weekly income trade. I am removing EMA filter. In the supply zone confluence, we need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled, that is 75-minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Next, second filter, 75-minute supply zone with weekly supply zone confluence. And the third filter, daily supply zone confluence with weekly supply zone confluence, with weekly supply zone. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence, we got 2 stocks. In these 2 stocks, these 75-minute supply zones are part of the daily supply zone, both together again part of the weekly supply zone. Weekly is HTF. So HTF trend is down, only 1 stock. If this is having weekly EMA confluence, so this stock is even more high probability trade setup supported stock. Let us verify if it is having or not. In the EMA confluence, weekly time frame, weekly supply zone having weekly EMA confluence filter is enabled. So Asian Paints is not filtered. So you can ignore this stock because the trend HTF trend is sideways. Sideways trend, EMA confluence does not give any extra advantage. So we can ignore it for even more high probability. But still, this is a high probability zone because it is a high liquidity zone, this 75-minute zone. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for weekly income trade. Next, daily income trade, bullish trade setup, entry time frame 15 minutes, entry zone, demand zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup, at a 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting bullish. These 15 minutes demand zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 15 minutes demand zone. Now let's verify how many we get. We got only 3 stocks. Currently these 3 stocks are supporting bullish trade setup for daily income trade. The entry time frame zones are 15 minutes demand zones. All these 3 15 minutes demand zones. Let us verify. Anyway, these 15 minutes demand zones are high liquidity zones. But even then, how many are having LTF and high TF demand zone confluence? Let's verify. That is 15 minutes demand zone with 75 minutes demand zone confluence. I'm enabling that filter. With this filter, out of the 3 stocks, we got all the 3 stocks. So all these 3 stocks are having ITF confluence. That means 15 minutes demand zone is part of the 75 minutes demand zone. Let us check out of, because 75 minutes trend is up. Let us verify any of these 75 minutes demand zones are having daily EMA confluence to filter even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, I am selecting 75 minutes demand zone with daily EMA confluence. So we did not get any stocks. Okay, next let us verify out of those 3 stocks how many are having LTF, ITF and HTF zone confluence. So 3 filters we need to set. First filter is already enabled. Second filter 15 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. And 75 minutes demand zone with daily demand zone confluence. With all the 3 filters, LTF, ITF and HTF demand zone confluence, we got 2 stocks. In these 2 stocks, these 15 minutes demand zones are part of the 75 minutes demand zone, both together again part of the daily demand zone. And the daily trend is up in the second stock. If this second stock is having daily EMA confluence, it could be even more high probability trade setup supported stock. First one we can ignore because the trend is sideways. Sideways EMA confluence does not add any extra advantage. So in the EMA confluence at a daily time frame, we are looking for daily demand zone having daily EMA confluence, because 15 minutes demand zone together with 75 minutes demand zone is part of the daily demand zone. So no stocks are having EMA confluence daily. So this is about bullish trade setup for daily income trade. Next, bearish trade setup for daily income trade. Entry time frame is 15 minutes. Entry zone is supply zone. In bullish or bearish trade setup at 15 minutes time frame, I am selecting bearish. These 15 minute supply zones should not be pierced. So in the pierced count at 15 minutes time frame, I am setting minimum value 0, maximum value 0. Zone achievement violated opposing zone. Minimum odd enhancer score 12. All 3 filters are applied to 15 minute supply zone. Now let's filter the stocks. We got 6 stocks. Currently these 6 stocks are supporting bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And all these zones are, entry time frame zones are 15 minute supply zones. We have 6 15 minute supply zones. Out of these 16, how many stocks are having even more high probability setup? Anyway, some of these stocks are 15 minutes high liquidity zones. So first filter is based on a 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. That is LTF and ITF supply zone confluence. So I am enabling the filter 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. With this filter, we got only 2 stocks. In these 2 stocks, these 15 minute supply zones are part of the 75 minute supply zone. 75 minutes trend is down. If any of these stocks are having 75 minute supply zone with daily EMA, they could be even more high probability trade setup supported stocks. Let's verify. In the EMA confluence at 75 minutes time frame, 75 minute supply zone with daily EMA confluence filter. With this filter, we did not get any stocks. Okay, fine. Removing this EMA filter. Now let us look for LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence. We need to set 3 filters. First filter is already enabled. 15 minute supply zone with 75 minute supply zone confluence. Second filter, 15 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. Third filter, 75 minute supply zone with daily supply zone confluence. with all the three filters, LTF, ITF and HTF supply zone confluence, we did not get any stocks. Okay, this is about bearish trade setup for daily income trade. And in the final report, let us look for ATRs, daily ATRs. Stop buffers based on daily ATR. First 17 in this list indices, remaining all are equity stocks. I am scrolling the list down. Whichever the stock you want to refer, there you please pause the video. After that you can proceed further. Okay, I am scrolling the list down. So this is the end of the report. Hope this information will be useful to you for your further study and analysis. Let's all meet again in our next video. Thank you.